Hi everybody, welcome back. Today we are going to be reviewing dividing decimals. With each problem, after we write it down, you can decide if you want to work it out with me step by step. Otherwise, pause, work it out on your own, and then come back and check. All right, the first problem we are going to do is 32 4/10 divided by 8/10. And before I start doing anything, remember the steps of division are divide, multiply, subtract, bring it down, divide, multiply, subtract, bring it down. Now if I look at this division problem, I have a decimal in my divisor, so I need to move that to the end. I move that one space, and I need to be fair, so in my dividend I'll also move that decimal one place to the right. My new decimal will go up top. Then I ask myself, how many times does 8 fit into 3? 8 doesn't fit into 3, so 0 times. 0 times 8 equals 0. And then divide, multiply, next is subtract. 3 minus 0 is 3. Next step is bring it down. Then I ask myself, how many times does 8 fit into 32? 8, 16, 24, 32. Oh, 4 times. 4 times 8 is 32. 32 minus 32 is 0. And then I bring down my 4. How many times does 8 fit into 4? None. So I put a 0. 0 times 8 equals 0. And 4 minus 0 is 4. When I have decimals, I will not have a remainder. So after my decimal, I can add a 0 and bring it down. And then I ask myself, how many times does 8 go into 40? 8, 16, 24, 32, 40. Oh, 5 times. And then 5 times 8 is 40. And 40 minus 40 is 0. I have a quotient of 40 and 5/10, but anytime I divide, I check with multiplication. So 40 and 5/10 times 8/10. 40 and 5/10 times 8/10. 8 times 5 is 40. 8 times 0 is 0 plus 4 is 4. And 8 times 4 is 32. 1, 2 digits behind my decimal. And I got back to my dividend, which is excellent. That's how I know I did the problem correct. So on the left side, I will write 40 and 5/10. I'm going to draw a line underneath. So you might need to do that today too, though. Just remember, we don't have remainders, so instead we'll add zeros if we need them. For number 2, we are going to do 110 divided by 5/10. If you are feeling confident, you may want to pause, work this out on your own, and then come back and check. All right, there is a decimal in my divisor, so I'm going to move that to the end. I need to be fair, so I'll have a decimal at the end of my whole number. And then I need to move that one space. And I'll add a 0 in there. Then I bring up my new decimal. How many times does 5 go into 1? 0. And then we have multiply. 0 times 5 is 0. Divide, multiply, subtract. 1 minus 0 is 1. And then I'll bring it down. How many times does 5 go into 11? 5, 10, 15, too big, so 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. And then 11 minus 10 is 1. And I'll bring down that 0. How many times does 5 go into 10? 2 times. 2 times 5 is 10. And then 10 minus 10 is 0. Then I'm going to bring down that last 0. How many times does 5 go into 0? 0 times 5 is 0. Now subtract, and I have no remainder, which is good. I'm going to box in my quotient of 220, and of course now I'll check. So 220 times 5/10. 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 2 is 10. 5 times 2 is 10 plus 1 is 11. 1 digit behind my decimal. Got back to my dividend. So that means my quotient was correct of 220. So I'll box that in. We have one final problem that we are going to do together. And that is going to be 19 2/10 divided by 12. All right, there is no decimal in my divisor this time, so my decimal in my dividend, I'll just move right to the top. And then if I can count by 12s, that's what I would list out over here. Otherwise, I might think about 10s. So how many times does 12 go into 1? 0 times. 0 times 12 is 0. 1 minus 0 is 1. My next step is to bring down my 9. 12 fits into 19, probably once. 1 times 12 is 12. And then 19 minus 12 is 7. My next step is to bring it down. All right, if I'm thinking about 12 like it's 10, I would just count 10s. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70. Well, that was 7 times. So I'm going to try 12 times 7. 7 times 2 is 14. 7 times 1 is 7, plus 1 is 8. Well, 84 is too big to fit into 72, so I'm going to try 12 times 6 to get a little smaller. 6 times 2 is 12. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1 is 7. Oh, hey, perfect. So 6 times 12 will fit into 72 6 times. So 6 times 12, I already did that, of 72, and now I'll subtract, and I got to 0. So my quotient was 1 6/10, but of course I want to check with multiplication. 1 6/10 times 12. Circle the 2. 2 times 6 is 12. 2 times 1 is 2, plus 1 is 3. Then tick, tack, toe. Circle my 1. 1 times 6 is 6, and 1 times 1 is 1. Then I'll go ahead and add these. 2 plus 0 is 2. 3 plus 6 is 9, and 1 plus nothing is 1. 1 digit behind the decimal. Hey, got back to where I started. Means my quotient is 1 6/10. All right, today when you are practicing with your Khan Academy assignment and also your Google form, please make sure that you are checking with multiplication and be very careful with those decimals. If you have any questions, please come to office hours from 1 to 2 or email or call me. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye.